So as I touched on in my Chicago history videos, guys, I feel like one of the main causes of the war in Chicago, one of the biggest things that was causing destruction of the community, was obviously drugs. And everybody was getting in on this. It was the government at one point. It was the cartels. It was street gangs. It was just individual guys who just wanted to make money. Everybody's getting in on the dope game, making money off of it. And it's, turning guys into addicts. They're not feeding their kids. They're abusing their families. They're tweaking off drugs in front of the kids. And it's creating a messed up situation in the community. So then those kids, they grow up messed up, you know what I'm saying? And then it turns into a cycle in a lot of cases that repeats itself. Well, one of the organizations that was making the most money off of this, well, I don't want to say the most, but was making a lot of money off of this at one point when they were very organized, was the GDs. And the GDs, I compare, in the 90s, I would compare it more to organized crime than to a street gang. When Larry Hoover was locked up, he was still running things for a long time, before he got sent away to the Supermax. So he was still, calling the shots. And, they were going to actually release him. But he was caught on wiretap, Larry Hoover, discussing street business, okay, basically with another guy. Now, this is before he was going to be released. And so that basically killed his chances of getting released. So if he had been released, who knows what would have happened. But before he went away, and this is an important point, before he went away, people in the GD organization were already breaking off. The street tax thing was a problem. That was one of the things that Hoover was discussing on the wiretap. The tax. Like, that's a big controversial thing in the streets. Like, are we going to pay this leader just to be able to sell dope on his turf? Or can we just get everybody that's on this turf to agree to just break off from him so that none of us have to pay the tax? He's not, like, Hoover's not bringing the stuff in. He's not over there in South America, growing the coca plants and do that. Like, he needs plugs too. He's not the first link in the chain. So we can go around him, just get somebody else, to fill in his position as far as giving us the dope. And then we don't have to pay the street tax and we can save a lot of money. And it was causing tension within the GD organization. And so the click thing, this is one thing that, people always get wrong, I see, is that they feel like the government sending him away was what turned it into these cliques. That was, I don't know if they're forgetting or what, but that was already happening. And everybody who grew up in the 90s knows what I'm saying is true. So, when that happened, now you've got a lot of these guys who are just basically independent operators. It's almost like independent contractors that have like these small cliques of drug dealers. And it'll be like 10 guys, 20 guys, and one of the guys who has the plug or who knows the plug or whatever, he might have a little influence over what these other guys are doing, but it's not like a very intricate hierarchy with hundreds of guys. So every now and then they bust one of these like small groups. It doesn't lead to like a huge domino effect of all these big leaders going down and the whole thing toppling like it would have back in the day when everything was really organized. But it leads to like 10 guys, 15 guys getting locked up. Okay, and that's what we have in this story. We've got a group of some older guys who grew up in the 80s and 90s, and some of them even in the 70s maybe, GDs, and these guys were selling dope, very dangerous dope, fentanyl-laced heroin. If you want to go to federal prison, sell Fent. Because, the feds are on this stuff like crazy now. Like, the Fent is killing all these people. And the Fent is a huge problem. And yet, a lot of it is still making it to the streets. So anyways, getting out of this story. But there have been 10 people charged after a federal drug trafficking investigations target operations that they said allegedly affiliated with gangster disciples. A guy named Kevin, he's 49. He's accused of running the drug operation prosecutors said was working with a Chicago street gang to sell fentanyl-laced heroin, which is one of the biggest problems that we've had in Chicago. So they said a Chicago man and 9 others were charged in a years-long federal investigation into the trafficking of fentanyl-laced heroin and other drugs on the south side. And this is one of those things where this stuff can really kill people. Kevin's 49. He's accused of running it. He's also accused of managing the potency and supply of the drugs that his group was distributing and working with dealers to create deals for customers. So the criminal complaint states the group worked with the GDs, a Chicago street gang. Now this is a little different than, the street cliques. This is some of the older guys, but with the fentanyl-laced heroin, honestly, I wonder, and I have not asked, and I wonder if the addicts really know that they're getting that or want it. You know what I'm saying? Because the fentanyl, I mean, it's supposed to be just like this lethal stuff. You're basically playing Russian roulette. And they take that stuff, and, some people have told me, okay, well, they might like it better because it's more powerful. And others are saying, well, who wants to die off that stuff? You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, a guy named Christopher, he's 45. Brandon, he's 31. Ricky is 37. Daryl is 51. And Ernest is 49. They're all from Chicago. And then another guy named Leroy, he's 49 of Riverdale. So, you see these guys' ages. Okay, so prosecutors said a property in West Pullman was used as a stash house for drugs and cash while members of the organization would work shifts on shared phones to conduct drug deals. So undercover cops, they were buying from his organization on at least 44 occasions, including from several of his co-defendants. So the main guy, that guy Kevin, he's also charged in a second federal drug case with Chicago residents Michael, who's 49, and Jamie, who's 46, accused of operating a similar drug operation. So in one of these deals, the guys with the police were buying from this guy Michael, and they told Kevin that he didn't have enough to sell to one of the guys because another had bought up what he had. So Kevin then showed up and handed off more drugs to Michael, who sold to the second guy that was, with the police, 30 of the 39 bags of the substance that Kevin had dropped off, according to the court documents. A DEA lab test later confirmed the bags contained fentanyl and heroin. So in July of 2021, in a deal, Michael and Jamie sold nearly 50 grams of the fentanyl-laced heroin to somebody with the police, according to a criminal complaint. So a guy named Reggie, he's 22, of Chicago, he was charged in the third complaint for distributing fentanyl-laced heroin on the south side several times between 2021 and 2022. He's accused of having sold more than 100 grams of fentanyl-laced heroin to the police between November of 2021 and March of 2022. Most of the defendants were arrested Tuesday. That was the day that several search warrants were executed, according to prosecutors. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section, man. Is it worth it to sell Fent? Is it worth it to, let hand these other dudes a gun so they can play Russian roulette with their life, and then, possibly make a little bit of money, but you're almost guaranteed to go to the feds, saying if you're selling that Fent. I mean, at least that's my observation. Fent is by far the most dangerous one. All of it's dangerous, all of it'll mess people up. All of it does attract, attention from law enforcement, but the stronger the drug, the more attention I see is going into it. So, yeah, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section about the GDs and the dope game. Like, where are they at with that right now? Do you think it would be better for them to drop it and just stick to other stuff? Because, another prime example, the dope game gets a lot of guys arrested, taken off the streets, causes a lot of beef. Would the organization survive intact and be able to turn into something like more positive if they got off the dope dealing stuff? Because that's what I see taking a lot of organizations down. The Stones at one point were kind of turning to be more of a civil rights organization, but the dope money and everything, according to some of their, some of the guys that were in the Vice Lords too, really, it kind of messed it up. You know what I'm saying? So you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Your boy Chicago News. I'm out.